Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magic Bricks Hangout series. Our endeavor is to trigger a buy and bring back consumer confidence in the real estate market. The topic of today's session is legal safeguards while buying redeveloped properties in Maharashtra. To discuss on the same, we have Uday Wavikar. He's an advocate by profession. Uday completed his Bachelor of Commerce from Bombay University and Bachelor of Laws degree from Mumbai University. At present, he is practicing as an advocate at the High Court in Mumbai and Consumer Protection Act consultant since January 1994. I also welcome Neha Nagpal. She's a senior journalist working with Magic Bricks. Without any further delay, we should take up the queries now. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Pushpa. Um, I welcome Mr. Wavikar on the board today. Sir, before we go on a live queries, we are actually getting a lot of live queries from the users today. I would like to understand the kind of legal issues in Mumbai people really face pertaining to real estate market. Can you just put some light on what kind of legal issues what Mumbaikas face, because Mumbai is one area where a lot of redevelopment is happening. Not only the new projects, but a lot of redevelopment is happening. So I would like you to put some light on those issues, sir.
Neha is the Vice President of the Consumer Court Bar Association for Maharashtra and Goa, and as well as President of Disha Foundation for Housing, which is an NGO registered. We have done a lot of programs on redevelopment because if you recently see the statistics, and as it is been pointed out in various seminars, the official statistics of Mumbai says that everybody nearly in Mumbai wants to go for redevelopment. The business of redevelopment is redevelopment. Because the way population is increasing in Mumbai, it's an island, you have no place to go, you have to go up. That means the redevelopment is the only answer to take care of increasing population, which is ever increasing. It is expected to be, today it is about 3 million including Thana, 3 crores. And we are expecting at least 10 times, 20 times, 30 times more in coming years. So to accommodate all this, and most of them are educated people, MBAs and computer programmers, it's required the redevelopment is a need of the hour. Now the legal issues for redevelopment are, a lot of people are gullible to the brokers who are selling dream in Mumbai who don't actually redevelop. They take the property and then give it to a bigger shark, a bigger builder, and then the bigger builder develops it, but the agreement is done with brokers. And then the brokers raise their hands and say they are not found, they are absconding, they do not complete the project, and the builder who buys it or takes it over says I have no liability. One of the example in Mumbai is Vaidhi Akash, where the builder Fondekar has sold it to Rustumji, and ultimately Rustumji today also Rustumji is not giving the flats to the sellable people who have purchased it from Fondekar with the proper authority of society. Therefore, the most important thing in a redevelopment is, first of all, the societies must do their feasibility study from a proper architect and civil engineer, and there has to be an optimistic and least feasibility study done, and in between you have to see what you really can get, what is a sellable area actually, what extra area you can get, how much time it can approximately take, and what is most important is what would be your maintenance after redevelopment, because many people do not think of this factor. Today your maintenance is 800 rupees, after redevelopment will go to 10,000 rupees, and if you have a clubhouse and swimming pool and everything, it may go 20,000 to 25,000 rupees a month. So can you really afford that to pay if you are in a middle class person? So that is another analysis which is very, very vital. Therefore you must appoint a PMC and follow the guidelines of section 79. You have to take consent of 100% is an ideal, but on an average 75% is acceptable to go for redevelopment. Secondly, you have to do appoint a project management consultancy, PMC, who has got a civil engineer or architect or a lawyer, of course a lawyer, and of course then a chartered accountant, society consultant will be very useful, and structural engineer. So therefore, if you have these experts in your PMC, they can really analyze the builders' quotations and find out one of the best builders or really builder who deliver. Because even after selection of 3 builders or 4 builders, it is necessary to do due diligence studies. There are a lot of builders who can show the dreams and who have excellent offices and excellent cars, but the point is how many projects they have completed, what is their track record, whether or not and whether you'll get it back in the same very terms and conditions, or will the terms and conditions will renegotiate. Lawyer plays a very vital role, because unless you have a watertight agreement, unless you ask for proper bank guarantee, unless you ask for proper corpus to be payable in advance, people have come on the roads, because after building is completed, builder have raised their hands and stopped, said now there is a dispute between the partners and we can't give you the possession. There will not be any occupation certificate, and the builders will say first give it to the sellable area, then we will give it to you. So all these things start. Lot of renegotiation is taken after the project is taken over. Project is delayed by 3-4 years, and they say now we can't afford, rules have changed, DP regulations have changed, so now we'll give you the less place. These are the warnings of redevelopment which I am saying. I am not pouring the water. There are very good redevelopment done. Now the new concept is emerging. These are two new concepts in redevelopment. One is self-redevelopment. Societies themselves are doing self-redevelopment with the help of Mumbai District Cooperative Bank, appointing builders as a contractors. Larsen and Toubro, Great Eastern Shipping, Tata Housing are coming forward also as a contractor. Even Godrej is coming forward. So you can get a reputed contractor, provided there is a trust and provided people are one to go ahead with the project. They can get the benefit of profit, so that future taxes and corpus and maintenance can be easily borne, and society can be in profit, provided the society is ready to take this risk and they are one and they believe each other, because cooperation is the basic thing that is required, which is not there. So therefore, what is most important is self-redevelopment. There is a combination now also. There are joint ventures where the society does the self-redevelopment and builders are coming forward to have a joint venture with you, so that society also gets the profit, builder gets his share of construction cost plus something, and then if this marriage goes well, it blends well, you will get an excellent result. So these are the three options in redevelopment which you have today in Bombay. For last nearly over 12 years, I am in this movement, right from first scene, and I have many cases where there is a tragedy and where there are things are really completed well. So I think we are ready to take the questions with this background. If there are any, I'll be.
Sure, sir. Let me just read out the very first query. There's a user who asked that I have purchased a 3,000 square feet of farmhouse plot in a scheme in Pune. Residential zone is written in documents. Builder has done an irrevocable power of attorney and development agreement. Is this okay, or any other documentation is required? I'm facing problems in selling it. Builder has put a board stating that no deal will be done without his NOC.
Point is, you have given him irrevocable power of attorney. Now, whether this irrevocable power of attorney have accepted any money, that is the question. Because if he has accepted the full consideration, then naturally the builder will insist on the NOC of him. But if the full consideration is not done and builder has done the breach of agreement, which development agreement which is got, he can cancel, but then he'll have to go to file a suit at the appropriate court, civil court, and get the termination of the builder done.
Right. Okay. There's another user called Raj. He says that the housing society of which I am a member is not allowing me to lease my property to bachelors. What are my options? Can I sign a lease agreement without the society's permission?
No. Come back again. Bachelors are not allowed by society.
No, he's actually basically, you know, that Mumbai is one of the place where, you know, rented accommodation is more taken up rather than buying, because buying is really expensive there. So the housing society of which the person is member of, Raj is a member of, is not allowing him to lease any property to the bachelors. So
that's not correct. That's not correct. That's illegal. The consumer court for bachelors have passed a judgment, which I had taken up the case. Where the bachelors were refused as a rent to an old couple who was renting it in Andheri, and then the consumer court gave a judgment saying that it is unfair trade practice and deficiency of service, and the society was told to allow the bachelors to continue. They went into the appeal, and in the appeal we succeeded, because there also I said, if this is the fundamental right to give a house on rent, and it's a self living is depending on many a times by the landlord. So this cannot be done by the society arbitrarily. If there is a law order question, they can go to the police, but they can't say bachelors cannot be rented. State Commission affirmed, because I said then Mayawati or Mr. Modi will not have any place in Bombay. So therefore, the point is that this is illegal, and of course there are many other examples I can give, but this is illegal. and this cannot be done.
Done.
Of course, one has to challenge in cooperative court or even in consumer court, which because I've got the judgments in consumer court.
Okay. Another query is from Vivek Kadam. He says that which documents to be checked while purchasing an under construction property at Ulve, Navi Mumbai. Basically, this question is for a general question, you know, in Mumbai, not only in Ulve, people are buying across Bombay and Thane, also in Navi Mumbai. So they have this question. People are little, as we saw the case like, you know, Campa Cola. After that, majorly people have become little conscious about the fact of buying in a property which doesn't provide them the occupancy certificate. So, what are the documents would you state that they should check in an under construction property before,
The point is, before buying, you must consult a property lawyer of that area who's good, and because people buy the property with the builder, but they do not, and I insist, they do not even refer to a lawyer. Ek chota sa, for a housewarming also you call Pandit ji or Mullah or priest, but here you don't consult a lawyer. So you must consult a property lawyer. You must find out, get the search report first of the property properly done. Then also check up with Mumbai Municipal Corporation whether the IOD is permitted or not. Secondly, whether the title is clear or not by the search report. Then IOD with the municipality, what are the permissions taken, whether IOD and commencement certificate is proper. Then do the due diligence of the builder, what are the track record, how much he is completed. Then see what is the project involved and the cost of project, and the financial diligence also of the builder, whether he will be able to complete this project or not. And after seeing all this, you can take up the risk. But I generally advise, it's very risky to go for an under construction property. It is always better to go for a ready possession where the building is 5 years old, everything is streamlined, occupancy certificate is there. Conveyance may not have been done, but it happens subsequently. But at least the occupation certificate is there, regular water supply is there, regular electricity supply is there. You know the outgoings of the society. There's a registered society, and you know that the flat doesn't have mortgage. So once you check all this, I think you are safe enough. And my advice is always to buy ready possession rather than to go for, unless you are going for investment, to go for under construction. If you see what I say, there are good chances, and of course make an watertight agreement, which is an individual agreement under Maharashtra Flat Ownership Act, which is very powerful. Then you will have a good this thing house. But today the new regulator is coming. Once it is on, which once it is launched, then you will be under new regulator and MOFA will go. So you may have to hurry before it is completely coming into the force.
So like under construction people also have, you know, there's a person called Megha Kate. She's from Pune. She's saying that I'm buying a resale residential property in Pune. I want to know the detailed checklist of all the documents, not only in under construction but also in a resale. Is there a difference in terms of checking the documents, sir, if there is any?
See, there are two issues. Number one is, if it is a ready possession, a resale document will be totally different because it will be a transfer document. And transfer in the sense is, if there is a registered society, the flat will have to be transferred to this person, and also there will be a purchase agreement, which will sale agreement rather, which will have to do, the buyer will have to do by paying the stamp duty. As far as the under construction is concerned, if you are buying the property from the previous seller, then you will have to be extra cautious to check all the lists that I have told you, right from starting from search report onwards.
Right. And while buying a redeveloping property, is there any difference in terms of checking the documents?
Of course, there's a lot of difference, because in a redevelopment property, you have to first check with the society. Whether the society still is going to continue with the builder or not, otherwise it will become by the Akash. Plus, you have to see whether the plans are sanctioned or not. You have to also see what is the feasibility and due diligence of the builder to complete the project, and even you have to see various other permissions. Like same thing applies to other constructions also. Like in Bombay, if somebody says I am going to buy a flat on 45th floor, I'll have to not only see the regular routine which I have said. Apart from that, I have to see whether there is a pollution control permission, whether there is an airport authority permission, aviation permission. So because these are the additional permissions that are required. There are about 37 to 40 permissions required by the builder. Number may increase, but you have to see whether the authorities have sanctioned or not. You have to also see whether the plot is, if it is a forest land, or if it is around Powai area, or if it is in the area of the New Zealand, Australian, around the RA colony, then you have to be extra cautious. So it all depends on area to area. It all depends on construction to construction and the plus the precautions that we have. So the
See,
best thing is to consult a local, property lawyer who's expert, and also take the search of the property.
right. This John from Mumbai, he lives in Mumbai and his flat is in the name of father's. Basically, his father owns a flat. He would like to know what are the documents required to transfer the flat in his own name. So,
But
what are the documents?
the point is whether his father is surviving or it is the transfer after the father. That is a
Hmm.
very crucial issue.
So
If
let's
the
take up
father,
both the cases, sir. Let's take up
uh,
both the cases. In case the father is
see, you
alive, what
can't,
are the documents?
yeah, you can't take it hypothetical, hypothecation, but think if you are assuming, then if the father is not alive, then he has to see whether there is a will and whether the will is probated and that will have to be given to the society. If there is no will, then he may have to go for succession certificate. He has the third option that all his legal heirs, that is the brothers and sisters, will have to do a deed of surrender to the society and also give the affidavit and the format mentioned under the bylaws with the indemnity and public advertisement, and then only the society can transfer the flat in his name. If the father is surviving today, being the first blood relation, there is no transfer fee in terms of with the registration authorities, but society, whatever the dues will get, and all the dues must be paid. Father will have to prepare a transfer deed in his name and then inform to the society and apply to the society. Society will make him the member, and accordingly the new membership will come into the picture, and the flat will be transferred. So this is the if he is surviving, then it is easier process. But if it is not surviving, then the process is slightly long.
Right. So there is a query from Asif. He's from Navi Mumbai. He says that I want to purchase a flat in Navi Mumbai. The land is Gothan basically. What legal documents should I ask from the builder in this case?
Gauta and lands are normally not allowed to be transferred. There are a lot of restrictions on the Gauta and land. Even then, he'll have to check up whether he has to do a search and take a search report whether this land can be transferred, because to the best of my knowledge, Gautan lands are not easily transferable. There are restrictions of the authorities which will have to check under which authorities the land is allotted as Gautan from the land record. Then subsequently he has to also see with the building that has got the OC or not, whether there is a permission sanctioned by the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, because there are a lot of illegal constructions in Gautan land, and he has to also see all the plans being properly sanctioned, whether there is a completion certificate, occupation certificate to the house, and then only I would suggest, but it is risky to take in a Gautan land. The rates are also cheaper. It is really tempting, but if you are unauthorized, you may become Campacola there.
Right, right. Completely right. Quite an insightful information. Um, there's a user called Michael from Mumbai. He says, when I buy a resale property, will banks provide home loan if the apartment is more than 20 years old?
It depends on banks to bank and the risk factor that bank is taking, and whether your title is absolutely clear or not, and what is the cost of the flat. Because just because it's a resale flat, bank would not say no to the loan. But then there are various factors which bank would like to check. Bank would like to check the title of the project. Bank would like to check whether there is any hypothecation on the flat or not, whether there are any claims or not. Then what is the sellability of the flat? What is the position of the building? So various factors, and plus what is the market value today. If the market value is of 2 crores and if you are asking a loan for 30 lakhs, I think bank should be easily giving, because the value of the flat itself is good enough.
Right, right. So there's a query from Mr. Gupta. He's asking that can my landlord ask me to vacate the flat if the property is undergoing redevelopment? Is my relocation is his responsibility?
The question is, if landlord is giving you a ownership flat instead of
Hmm.
a rented flat, it all depends on your development agreement. It is not necessary that landlord has to relocate every time. What you really deal, it's a negotiable actually with the builder. If the builder is going to provide you alternate rent for the property, fine. But if the landlord is not giving you on a ownership basis, I think still worth to stay even on rent and take the property on ownership. But the agreements have to be really foolproof. Ultimately, it will all go by your agreements between the builder and yourself, or the landlord and yourself. Because many a time the landlord may give you again back on rent, then landlord may provide you alternate accommodation during such time. It
Right.
depends on transaction to transaction, dealing to dealing, and agreement to agreement. There is no thumb rule on the rented properties.
Right. There is Nand Kumar. He's asking that what legal documents can be made for advance payment for purchasing a resale flat in Pune?
In Pune,
Right.
yeah, agreement for sale, he has to get NOC from the society. He has to check on the mortgage of the flats, and he has to also see the stamp duty adjudication and get the stamp duty registration. And NOC from the society is also very vital. And that the dues of the previous transferor, the person who is transferring, are totally paid or not. And then of course the percentage of brokerage etc. would be subsequent. That is not a very important factor, of course, though it is there. So these are the minimum requirements which are there.
Okay, so when we talk about Pune and Mumbai, these are the two cities which are quite, very nearby to each other. Do you see any difference in checking of documents while buying a property in both these two cities, or the documentation, checking the documents, legality is all same in these cities, both the cities?
If you see, Maharashtra Flat Ownership Act is common for both. But if you see the cultures of the city, if you see the prices of the city, it totally varies. Secondly, there are a lot of agricultural land and there are a lot of forest lands in Pune than in Mumbai. So that is another thing. Whereas in Mumbai, there are again different authorities under which the land comes. You have MADA buildings, you have municipality, I mean, you have the buildings which is of the collector land, you have SRA land. Similar things are there in Pune, but less. So ownership titles are different. Now, if it is a MADA building, you have to get the NOC for transfer of MADA of the. If your name has to be entered in MADA, that has now been stopped. Society is not required in certain things. SRA rules are different. Then you have, if it's a slum redevelopment authority, then there is a ban of 10 years to transfer the flat. So each depends on under which control. So therefore, there is a lot of difference between Mumbai and Pune. Again, in Pune, first you get building completion certificate and then you get the occupation certificate. Whereas in
Okay.
Mumbai, you get part occupation like Campa Cola and you face the trouble. So there was in the past. So there are first floor occupation, the other three floors are unauthorizedly constructed. In Pune, generally it is the first building completion and then the occupation certificate. So
So when
both
you
in the cities, yes. So it varies. So therefore, you get an expert lawyer from that place rather than asking a Bombay property lawyer about the property in Pune.
So if you just talk about the trends, the current trends in Bombay and Pune, is it right on your part to say that yes, investment or property buying in Pune is little, better in terms of, it's a legally hassle free for a consumer than what is buying in Mumbai?
Well, if you by and large say, I would agree with you, but because title in a Bombay properties is a very difficult proposition, clear title in Mumbai, whereas you may get a clear title in Pune, but it's not necessary because Pune has a different culture, different background. Pune, you may have an agricultural land which is not made non-agricultural. You may have a forest land, you may have a green belt, and Green Tribunal is sitting in Pune. So there are so many things, and again there are height restrictions because of military camps around. So all this have to be looked into.
Right, right. So let's go back to the queries here. There's a user who's asking that we as common citizen are forced to pay the bribes to the corporation, sub-registrar, tehsildar at every level. How can one get documents without paying any bribes? The bribery cost escalates the legal cost.
I don't know how really to say about this question. Person who give bribes and take bribes both are culprits. Uh, I would suggest simplest way is to go under right of information. Ask for the documents. If there are not given, you can go in appeal in the right of information. Generally, under the right of information, you get the documents. Even if it is so that the documents are lost only and it is reported they are completely lost and you don't get the justice even after right of information, then you have a writ of mandamus to file. And generally, when the person goes to the court, uh, the officers are scared.
Right.
So you have the shortest cut is, I believe, today very good is right of information.
So there's
And
Jiten
that would
Rathod.
definitely. Of course, you also have local authority called Lokayukta. You can complain to Lokayukta also, and Lokayukta also can take care of these complaints and take an action on the. I know certain cases where Lokayukta has effectively acted for action against the officer, and now there is a new act coming. That officer has to give you Services Act, that is called Services Act, and that under that act also you can invoke. So there are many acts. Take a proper guidance and move. Simplest is the right of information.
Right, rightly said, sir. Jiten Rathod from Thane, he says that I have seen a 1 BHK flat in an under construction building at Nandivali, Dombivali East, Maharashtra, which comes under the Gram Panchayat region. How can I confirm a building is legal or not? What document should I check?
As I said, he has to see the first is he has to do the entire search report of the property as far as title is concerned. Second is he has to also see if it is a Gram Panchayat, there is something called Bhogavata Patra that is called in Marathi, which is nothing but an occupation certificate, whether that has been granted by the Gram Panchayat or not. And he has to make it sure that it is under Gram Panchayat because their borders are sometimes overlapping. You are under corporation, sometimes you are under Panchayat. So he has to be absolutely clear because Gram Panchayats are very flexible in giving occupation certificate, whereas municipalities are very strict. Because unless there is a water supply, there is a proper electricity supply, you will not get occupation certificate. But it is observed that many Gram Panchayats issue the certificate even without this. So you have to check whether there is a proper water supply or not. You have to check whether the entire title, whether the title is clear or not. You have to see the hypothecation of the land. You have to see whether it's an agricultural land, since it's under the Gram Panchayat or green belt land, or are there any green zone restrictions. All these verifications will have to be done. Then only you can take the property. And you have to also see whether there is a registered society or not, conveyance is done or not. Many a times they go for condominium, that is called Apartment Ownership Act. And if they go under the Ownership of Apartment Act, then of course you have to also check whether proper condominium is formed or not.
Right. Uh, Sir, there is a query from Zubair. He's from Delhi. He says, I want to buy a shop in the municipal market located in Malad West, Mumbai. What are the legal procedure I should follow for this?
Now,
It's a
first
commercial.
of all, as a commercial premises, first of all, he has to see whether the premises have building licenses or not, and then he has to also see that commercial license first, and then Shop and Establishment Act, whether they're coming under Shop and Establishment Act clearances are there or not, and then of course search report is also essential. Conveyance has to be has done or not. That also can be checked whether there are occupation certificates properly intact and building completion certificate intact or not. These are the minimum things which he has to search.
Right.
And also hypothecation, as I always say,
Sir,
with the
we are
banks.
going to close this session. We are coming to close this session. Let me just take up a last query and then I'll ask you to conclude this session by telling the consumer in terms of, what to check in before investing in a redevelopment property in Mumbai. The last question is, what is 712 document, 7/12 document, how to obtain it?
It's 7/12 is known as Sat Bara in Mumbai, and this can be obtained by Tahsildar and the land from the land record. And you can apply and get it, but it's not that easy to get it because if you it's better to go through a professional person or lawyer for a search because they know and it's a daily job and it becomes very easy to get it. Otherwise, you can try. Of course, today right of information is there. You can apply, pay the requisite fees for getting the extract of 712 and you can get it from the land record officer. But you have to
What
go
is
to the respective land record officer.
what is the significance of this particular document?
This entire document will show you the history of the property. It will also show you how the properties are transferred, and basically it's very important to check the title of the property.
Okay,
Whether the
okay.
title is clean, who is holding the land today, that's very important. It's better than even a property card giving you the entire history of the property.
Right.
In fact,
True.
712 is one of the most essential record that you have to check while seeing the title of the property.
Okay. Very true, sir. Sir, we are just going to close this session. I would request you to conclude this session if you have any message to a consumer before investing in property in Maharashtra, especially in redevelopment properties.
People feel that redevelopment is I mean, you may get a cheaper property, you may get a better property at a better rate, but it is always unsafe, I would say, because you have to check a lot of clearances in redevelopment property, because the first priority in redevelopment property is to existing people. The flats are first given to existing people, and that's a precondition by the authorities, whether it is under MADA, SRA, or municipality or private redevelopment, that the existing residents has to get the flat first, and then only the sale portion. In a property which you directly buy, the moment building is ready, you under the MOFA, you have an agreement, you are the owner of the flat. But here you are much dependent on the society. Tomorrow, if society terminates the builder, you will become like Vedi, Akash, and the sale portion people may not get it, because the first builder deals with the property, second builder says I have nothing to do, and there can be many legal complications. And you have to really check whether the society's power of attorney is proper, whether society is willing, whether the builder is going to complete the project. So there are a lot of ifs and buts in a redevelopment property, whereas normally in the normal sale where the property is being constructed, it is much safer if you check the proper, as I said, the title, etc. But redevelopment, you are taking the possibilities of not getting your flat are more than the normal purchase.
True, true. Thank you
Because
so
the
much for
third factors are many factors are involved.
third factor. Sorry, sir, please continue. Sorry, third factor.
I said there are a lot of third parties also involved, like the society plays a major role, builder plays a major role, there may be
Right.
first builder, second builder, third builder. You really never know till the project gets complete.
Completed. Very true, very true. Thank you so much for your insightful information, sir. Thank you for your time. Over to you, Pushpa.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you, Neha.
I'm really thankful to our guest speaker, Mr. Uday Wavikar, for participating in this Hangout session. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this Hangout a great success. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Wavikar.
Thank you. Welcome.